How's it going, everybody? RazingHel here, and I've been quite busy as of late, but I thought I would just give you a brief update on what it is I've been working on. So as you can see here in the video, this is a motherboard that I recently got. It's a super micro motherboard. It's for a 2-socket dual Xeon setup, and I'm going to be using this as a new storage solution. So I've sort of run through this entire thing myself, which means that it's taken me a while to find all the compatible parts and whatnot, and I'm still not sure this HBA card here, which is what's going to control both drives. I'm using SAS drives. You probably can't see it there, but it's not a SATA drive, it's a SAS drive. I'm planning on using SAS drives. And this HBA card here is going to control them, and I'm either going to set it up with something like Linux or FreeNAS. There are a couple of cool things to point out here, I think, though. So I mentioned that I'm getting the SAS drives, which of course will mean that it's a bit of a new technology that I've never dealt with before. I've used SATA drives. So in the past, like this one. But the SAS drive requires an entirely different cable. So this is the kind of cable you need for SAS. It has both power and data on the same plug, and then it plugs in using mini SAS right here, and then this plugs into the HBA card that you can see right here. So it plugs in like that, and this is something that I'm not at all familiar with, so it's been a learning experience, which has also made it take longer than it would if I used standard SATA. As you can see, there is a standard SATA solid state drive right here. This is going to be the drive that I install the operating system on. I think it's 60 gigabytes. I got it for like $15 off of eBay. And Crucial is a fairly reasonable, they've got a reputation for memory. This is a little switch that I bought. It's a 2-pin deal, and it allows me to turn the motherboard on and off when it's not mounted in a case. This was something that I ran into a bit of a problem with when I was originally building my desktop computer, is that you have these motherboard pins. I'm not sure if you can quite see it. It's probably obscured a bit. Maybe you can see it. You got these headers on your motherboard that you attach the power button to, that the case ships with, but you know, by default the motherboard doesn't include one. But you probably don't want to stick the motherboard in the case until you're at least sure that all the components work with it. So I got these little fan buttons. You can just press it once and it turns on and off, and it really works great, because otherwise you have to go ahead and take a screwdriver and then short the 2 pins to turn it on. So it's been a real adventure, and I'm going to be documenting more of this build as I actually progress with it, because I think it's a bit of an interesting idea that hasn't been done much before. A lot of people can build desktop computers, but this one I'm actually working on building a storage solution using standard server grade hardware, and it's going to be put inside a standard desktop case. I'm using Fractal Designs cases again, because they have an understated profile, and I like them to be nice and quiet. We're going to see how quiet they can be with six of these SAS drives spinning at 7,200 RPMs inside them. In addition to that, I've got a super quiet EVGA 750 watt power supply. I bought that new, mostly because the power supply is not one of those things you want to take chances with. And then we also, over here, for the CPU, I'm going to be using 2 of these Noctua heat sinks with the fans on them, nice and quiet. And I know some people don't like the color scheme, but I personally have no problems with it. The other CPU socket's over there behind it. This is the second CPU socket, and it's going to require another fan like this. I haven't bought it yet. I wanted to make sure that this would fit and is what I wanted, and I think so far the answer is yes. So before I quit here, I think I would like to mention some of the pricing that is involved with this. So the motherboard itself is $100. This fan I bought new, so this heatsink and everything, it was $60. It's difficult to find heatsinks for server motherboards that fit the right socket that are lower in price. Like the cheapest ones I could get were about $30, and you know, at that point I'd just rather pay another $30 to get something that's really good rather than scrape along with mediocrity. In terms of the power supply, I think that was about $80, and it's a fully modular power supply. So as you can see here, you can remove all of the cables on it, which was important because I'm going to need 2 CPU cables to power it. So it's 8 pins, and you're going to need 2 of those. So that was $80. $60, $100. The HBA here was $40, I think. This is Dell H200 HBA. So the RAM was a little bit unusual, and here are 3 sticks of it. The other 3 are in the board at the moment for the other CPU. The RAM was a little bit unusual because, you know, prices are still pretty high for them. This is DDR3 RAM from Samsung. It's 2 rank. So you see it says 2R on the label there. Maybe not. It's something you have to look at and keep in mind when working with server motherboards. So this is registered error correcting DDR3 RAM, 8 gigabytes for each of these. So I have a total of 48 gigabytes of RAM for this computer once it's all set up. And that was $80. Probably could have got it for cheaper, but I really did like these DIMMs. They've got the heat spread, you know, they got the protective heat sink on them and everything, so I just thought it looked nice and it fit exactly the specs that I was looking for. And then of course, you know, one of the oftentimes overlooked costs are things like this breakout cable. This costs about $25, I think, because it's a StarTech, I think. They make a lot of unusual connectors. And the reason I have to buy an expensive one is because most of the time with these server type motherboards, what people are going to do is they're going to connect the HBA card directly to the backplane that all of the SAS drives slot into. But since I don't have a backplane, since I'm just building it in a regular computer, I actually need a breakout cable that has all the connectors on every one. So you can see it has like a standard SATA type power to it that you connect to the power supply, and then of course it has the SAS data. And, you know, both of them are combined. I showed this cable to you before. That was $25 though. The little power button that I got, that was $2, I think. You got 2 of them. And I think that's pretty much it. So overall, the biggest cost for this entire build is probably going... Oh, I didn't mention the case. I got a Fractal Design case, and that was about $100 new. So the biggest cost for this entire build, the way I see it, is going to be the drives. I'm looking at a total of 16 terabytes of usable storage. That's going to be in some sort of RAID configuration. I'm not quite sure on that yet, but I'm thinking to have 2 disks worth of redundancy. So 4 disks will be actually storing data. So it's 4 times 4 terabytes. Each disk is 4 terabytes. 4 times 4 terabytes storing data, and then 2 disks with 4 terabytes each of redundancy. And by and large, what I really liked about this project is that it gave me an opportunity to learn about more server or enterprise grade equipment here. It's what I was looking forward to the most. I could have went out and bought something that would have fit my needs here, but I really wanted to just be able to play around with some of this stuff and learn firsthand, which is an experience I've not been able to have up to this point. So as you might imagine, it's taking quite a bit of time to go through everything and make sure things fit, things work, order them, find compatible parts and whatnot. And it's all part of the learning process. The software configuration is going to take me more time. So that's what I've been doing. I've been spending a lot of my spare time on now. And it's the reason why there are fewer videos than there have been in the past couple of years, actually. But I should be back making more videos about games pretty soon. The day after this or 2 days after this, there'll probably be another Don't Starve video. So if that's what you're here for, don't worry, more of that will be coming. By the way, I'm recording the audio here on a GoPro, so if that's why it sounds a bit different, yeah, now you know. So thank you very much for watching. This is an update on what I've been working on. I'll be documenting more of my process of building this, by the way. But yeah. I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.